Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the stream is going on. Okay, now that I have let everybody on social media know that the show is going on, I'm going to just get straight to tonight's topic. Now, tonight's topic was based on the passing of Coolio, which transpired on Wednesday night. Now, I was surprised to hear about the passing of rapper Coolio at 59 years old. And 59 is a very young age for a man when you consider that the Most High gave men 120 years to live on earth. And your Coolio only got to barely close to half of his life, sadly, before he passed away. However, in that short time, your Coolio had a major impact on the entertainment industry. Now, your Coolio was a guy who grew up in Los Angeles after being born in in Pennsylvania. He lived in Compton and was living down there in LA. And after he graduated high school, he went to Compton Community College, then worked at jobs like firefighting and Los Angeles International Airport before becoming a rapper. Now, your Coolio started recording songs as far back as 1987 and made a lot of connections in the rap scene over the course of a couple of years before being signed up for Tommy Boy Records. And once he got signed up for Tommy Boy Records, he had his first hit, which was Fantastic Voyage, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and got a lot of rotation in on MTV back when MTV played music videos because around 1992, that's when MTV started to get into politics, and they were heavy promoting Bill Clinton's political campaign for president, and that's started the end of MTV being a music channel and focusing more on reality shows and other kinds of content. But thankfully, Coolio was able to get his song on MTV, which is a major feat, and they heavily rotated it, and that led to him starting to become on the road to stardom. Now, your Coolio, as he was out here with this song, got a lot of praise for it because it was very different from your typical gangster rap, because most of your typical gangster rap was all about the streets and all about the hood. But he put a little bit of humor in the Fantastic Voyage song, but his song that made him an icon came about a year later with the release of the movie Dangerous Minds. Now, with the release of the movie Dangerous Minds, the song Gangsta's Paradise became Coolio's signature song, and that song was basically talking about how rough life was in Los Angeles at the time. And Coolio, I believe, was coming from his heart when he was rapping Gangsta's Paradise. He was talking about how rough life was because, again, as a resident of Compton, he knew all about those streets, and he came from his heart when he was putting those words down for that song. And Your Gangsta's Paradise became a huge hit for Coolio, and it became one of the top songs of the year, and it was the number one song in 1995 all over the world. And basically, your Coolio won a Grammy for this song and Best Rap Solo Performance. So your Coolio won a Grammy for this song, and I have to say it is a classic song, and it's a very memorable song because you can just feel everything coming from Coolio in this song, and it's again one of the best songs he produced in his career. And your Coolio then went on after Gangsta's Paradise, and then went on to start making other songs on other albums, but none were as popular as Gangsta's Paradise. I mean, Gangsta's Paradise again is a hip hop classic, and again, it is the song he will always be known for. Now, after doing a lot of work with Tommy Boy, your Coolio then left Tommy Boy Records and then started going out here and putting together his own albums and on his own platform, and then went on to go out here and make appearances on TV shows and different movies. So he had been doing a lot of different projects as he started to become popular, and he went on to was still out here producing music up until the time of his passing. So your Coolio had been working regularly for years after the peak of his popularity, and as he worked over the years, he was building up. He was still trying to build as related to his career, and he was also building up his family, where he had 6 children. So your Coolio was still trying to go on and still trying. He was still making appearances in places like Germany. He was still out here rapping and making records, and he was working hard until he wound up passing away this week. And he was found at a friend's house where he was found unresponsive. And as your EMTs tried to go out here and revive Coolio, sadly they couldn't because he was pronounced dead on the scene. And we all got the tragic news of Coolio passing at 59 years old. And again, it was very sad to hear about the passing of Coolio because I know many of the viewers out here, they grew up with Coolio's music just like I did. And a lot of younger viewers who were growing up in the 90s, you knew that his music was a major part of your life. And it was a major part because, again, your Coolio was was a major star back then. So his music was a major part of a lot of people's lives. And he had a major impact on the world of hip hop because his gangster rap was more had a lot of diversity. He could do a lot of the humor with Fantastic Voyage, or he could go out here and do something that was very soulful and emotional, like Gangsta's Paradise. So he had a lot of great range as related to his craft of music, and that's something he will always be remembered for. And again, I was sad to hear about the passing of Coolio, and it was just as shocking to me in some ways, like the passing of Michael Jackson. And the passing of Michael Jackson, again, that was one that was a major shock to me because I remember that day in 2009, nobody expected that to happen as related to Michael Jackson. But when it comes down to a lot of Black men out here, we get shocked by the announcement of their passing, but most people don't understand what many Black men are going through that leads to them being passing at such an early age. Now, one of the reasons why so many black men like Coolio wind up passing away at such a young age is due to the fact that many black men out here they really don't focus on their health. I mean, when I look at the whole at a whole bunch of black men who have passed away in the last couple of years, I mean, many of these men are in their late 40s or their early 50s. I mean, we have seen Michael Jackson pass away at 50. We've seen Luther Vandross pass away in his 50s. And recently, we have seen men like Shock G from Digital Underground. We've seen Marky D from the Fat Boys. We've passed away in his early 50s. And we've seen the late Kevin Samuels pass away in his early 50s. And while all of these black men have had great success in the first stage of their lives, sadly, they have not been able to live long enough to go out here and be able to enjoy that success because a lot of black men have not taken a comprehensive look at their health. Now, a lot of black men out here, they don't really trust the American healthcare system because your American healthcare system is filled with white supremacy, and the American healthcare system really doesn't look out for the overall health of black men. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of black men wind up dying at an early age is because a lot of black men don't really take those trips to the doctor, and possibly maybe Coolio's life could have been saved had he taken a trip to the doctor. Because a lot of black men, they don't we don't go to the doctor because sometimes we have the time to go out to the doctor, and a lot of us we don't understand that the best way to take care of our health is by going out here and finding out what's going on with our bodies, because sometimes there are things going on with our bodies that we don't know. But a lot of us, we have a lot of mistrust as related to many in the medical field because we have heard horror stories like the Tuskegee experiments. And a lot of us also, and recently, have heard about the jab mandates. And again, all of these different policies by the government. This is what makes a lot of black men hesitant to go to see a doctor and go get a checkup to find out what's wrong. So a lot of black men, they don't really want to go to the doctor because they don't trust doctors, and they don't trust doctors because again, the medical industry is a part of white supremacy, and because they fear that these doctors may do them dirty, they don't want to go out here to the doctor. So that's one of the reasons why so many black men wind up not knowing about what's going wrong with them. And that's why they wind up sadly passing away at an early age. Now, another reason why many black men really don't go to the doctor as well is due to the fact that we don't have health coverage. Now, a lot of brothers out there, they're working at places and they don't really have enough money to pay for health insurance, even though your Obama says there's an Affordable Care Act. Many brothers can't afford to go out here and get medical care because it's just really expensive. Now, other brothers out here, they don't even know that they could get health care for free, like Medicaid and other types of medical services under the Affordable Care Act, because that's one of the ways you can go out here and get one of these cell phones is if you have Medicaid. So a lot of black men, they don't know that they can go out here and get Medicaid to take care of their health, but they don't go out because they're hesitant to go to places to apply for Medicaid because some black men, they have records and they fear going out here and applying for these types of health care because they fear it may trigger something that leads to the police coming after them. And other black men are very proud, so they don't want to go to the Medicaid office to get medical coverage to take care of themselves. So you got some brothers out here, they're afraid to go out here and get that Medicaid to go get those checkups or get things like glasses. So you have a lot of black men who don't know that they have a right to go out here and get their health taken care of. And then you've got another group that are afraid to get their health care taken care of because they fear that if they find out something, they may do them dirty. And that's the other reason why a lot of black men fear going out here to take care of their health. But more brothers, again, need to go out here and take care of their health for their physical health because we're losing too many brothers too young. I mean, when I think about the amount of the number of brothers that were prominent that have passed away over the last, again, couple of years. I mean, we lost Biz Markie, we lost Shock G, we lost Marky D, we lost your Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, I mean, Kevin Samuels. So many black men have lost their lives. And it's just really sad to think about all of these black men who have lost their lives and they weren't even at the halfway point as related to their lives. I mean, you have men like Bill Cosby who are living into their 80s because they did things like take care of their health. And again, Bill Cosby was a man who was always focused on fitness and health. I mean, he did episodes where he was talking about running and jogging and his diet and everything, but you don't really see that type of focus on health like you did with Bill Cosby, with other black men. And we need to see more of a focus on physical health as related to black men, because again, many black men are not taking care of their physical health, and they have to go out here and trust in God as they go out to the healthcare system and see about going to a doctor to get a checkup. Because if you get your health checked up on early, you can find out what's wrong and possibly treat what's wrong before it gets bad. Or you can go out here and find out about what you can do to improve your health. So a lot of black men, we need to go out here and focus on our health. We need to focus on taking care of ourselves. And that's all part of putting yourself first. And that's something a lot of black men are not doing these days, is putting themselves first, because a lot of us, we get caught up in working at our job or working on things we want to do and accomplish, because a lot of black men out here, we know that we, in many cases, don't have much time in this world. And the reason why a lot of brothers feel like they don't have much time in this world is due to the system of white supremacy in this country and all over the globe. Because with the system of white supremacy, many black men feel like we have a target on our back. And we know that any day we step out of our house, it could possibly be our last day here on earth. And even if we come to our house or in our house, we know that any day could possibly be the last day we're living, because we don't know if the law enforcement is going to come to our house and shoot us. And again, that whole aspect of living here in America, that has an impact not only on our physical health, but it also has an impact on our mental health. And that's another aspect of health that many black men don't really look at, because we don't understand how mental health connects to our physical health, because how we are thinking impacts how our bodies function. And one of the number one killers of black men isn't just the physical health and things like heart attacks it's also the stress that we have to deal with as related to our mental health. And it's the stress we have to deal with as related to our mental health that leads to a lot of Black men winding up having conditions like heart disease and having issues as related to just being able to function, because the problems that Black men deal with are unique to us and not any other man out here. I mean, life for a Black man is completely different than that of a white man, that of any other non-Black man, any white woman or non-Black woman, or even Black women. Most Black men, we grow up living with stress practically every day from the day we start to become into adolescence. And this is what leads to a lot of Black men like myself being on edge most of the time, because a lot of Black men, we live in a world filled with anxiety, and that anxiety is something that leads to a lot of the stress we have, because most Black men, again, we don't know whether the day that we're living on earth will be our last day here, and every second we're out here just living, we don't know where the end is going to come, because in the world of white supremacy, we are seen as an enemy. And because we are seen as an enemy out here, this is something that has us basically living with a lot of tension from the day we come into awareness as related to adolescence. So when it comes down to Black men, we not in the system of white supremacy, we not only are anxious because of the white supremacist who already has a target on our back and can come at us with law enforcement and basically take our life for the most trivial of things. And again, this is what puts a lot of anxiety in a young Black boy's mind ever since he's about 11 or 12 years old. So a young Black boy, he's coming into the world with a lot of anxiety because, again, he doesn't know whether somebody's going to come after him with a lot of anger and attack them in a place like a store because they believe that he's stealing, or a teacher's going to try to put him in a place like special ed because she doesn't like him, or he's going to have to deal with a abusive parent, or he's going to have to deal with bullies in school. All of these things start the foundation of a Black boy's stress, and that stress starts to make that boy anxious because, again, he's worried about getting through the day because he doesn't know who's going to come after him and derail his entire life. So many young Black boys, their whole foundation isn't stable from minute one, and that really has an impact on their mental health because this is the start of the stress many young Black boys have that your white boys don't have, your white girls don't have, your non-Black boys and non-Black girls have, or even your Black girls have. They don't have the stress on them at an early age because the world is completely different for them. And many of the people I have mentioned in these groups basically take their lives for granted, not understanding the pressures that are on young Black boys as young as 11 or 12 years old. And because those boys, again, are under extreme pressure because they're worried about how they're going to survive and get through a day, many of these boys start out with a lot of stress, and that stress gets even worse as they get older because they have to deal with the pressures of dealing with things like the relationships with Black females, who basically exacerbate stress because a lot of Black females do not know how to have an amicable relationship with a black boy. Because a lot of times when you have your black girls out here, they have imbibed a lot of this mainstream media. And because they've imbibed a lot of this mainstream media that demonizes black boys and black men, they see a black boy as an enemy and an adversary, and they're out here attacking the black boys who are out here and putting that puts more stress on black boys. And a lot of black boys, they have to deal with the stress from the black girls. They also have to deal with the stress from their black mothers who nag and harass them because in a lot of cases they're angry at their fathers. So they take out all their anger and frustration, and that makes it where the boy has no place where he can have some peace and rest. No, he's in a place where he's filled with stress, and that stress has a major impact on that boy because in some cases, if this woman has all these boyfriends and stuff, and they're coming in the house and they're being angry at him because they want time with the mother and he's there, that puts even more pressure on that boy. And again, it leads to the boy being on edge most of the time. And this leads to even more stress. And that stress is, again, all the stuff that leads to a lot of black boys having just living on the edge. And being on the edge, this is what just takes years off your life. Because I know from personal experience, living with anxiety, you feel like you have to just look out and worry about whether this one's going to come after you or that one's going to come after you. And that's how black men live. I mean, we live not knowing who's going to try to start something, who's going to try to get something going. And we have to live on edge because we don't know what if the day we're coming outside the house is the last day of our life. And sometimes when we're at home, we don't even know if somebody may come in and try to take our life, whether it be one of these police officers or even a member of our family in our home. We don't know what's going to happen next. And again, that has a lot of black men on pins and needles. And it has us on pins and needles because all it takes is one person getting upset and our whole world can completely change because some female getting mad over the toilet seat not being up, it will go out here and get so angry that she'll either call 911 and you'll have to deal with those white boys in blue, or she'll go out here and start picking up razor blades or knives. And that makes it where you're on edge because you don't know what this female is going to do. So many black men, again, you're dealing with stress as related to just your personal life. I mean, a lot of black men, you don't know if you're going to be coming home and having to deal with some drama. So a lot of brothers, they are on, this is one of the things that has an impact on their mental health. And because it has an impact on their mental health, that also has an impact on a black man's physical health. And that's one of the reasons why the late Michael Jackson, I believe, wound up having struggles as related to trying to sleep. And that was one of the things that led to him winding up having to go to Dr. Conrad Murray to try to get propofol, because this brother, all he wanted to do was get a good night's sleep, and he couldn't get something that most people take for granted because you got all these pressures on you and you don't know what the next day is going to bring, and you don't know who is going to come after you. Now, some people would say, "Oh, Michael Jackson is a case as related to a celebrity," but no, this happens to black men practically everywhere, and most black men have to deal with anxiety because, again, we don't know what's coming next, and we were sitting here waiting for the next shoe to drop, and that's the thing that has us basically living with a lot of stress. But a lot of people, they want to dismiss our stress and try to say, oh, that's not something that has impact on your health, but it has a major impact on our health, and it has a major impact on our overall bodies because our minds are related to the impact on our bodies. Now, another part of what causes a lot of black men stress is employment. Now, a lot of these white women, a lot of these white men, and a lot of these non-black women and black women, they don't really have to worry too much about the job market, but a black man has to deal with a lot of stress as related to the job market because you're not really wanted there. And because the white supremacists in the job market and even some of these whites and non-blacks don't want you, and even other black men don't even want you there because they're jockeying for a position in white supremacy. They go out here and they look to keep you out of the job market. And this puts a lot of stress on black men because, one, it's hard to go out here and get one of these jobs. And I know this from experience ever since I was 18 years old. And being without a job puts a lot of stress on a black man because he's trying to go out here and start his life. He's going out here trying to make a living. He's going out here trying to make some money and be able to take care of himself. And the whole thing is that you have all of these people who want to try to deny you a job, not because you can't do the job, but because they are just insecure about a black man being there based on their stereotypes and their projections of ideas about black men. They believe that the black man is lazy. They believe the black man is incompetent. They believe the black man doesn't really care about whatever they're doing. And again, they're projecting all of their stereotypes on you and using this as an excuse to deny a black man like myself a job. And as you're sitting there trying to get a job so that you can go out here and try to be a man and make a living, you're being denied entry into the job market for the most rudimentary of positions. I mean, ever since I was 18 years old, I've had to deal with people blowing me off, ignoring me, telling me that they didn't want me working there, and just telling me that they didn't want to have anything to do with me. Meanwhile, you'll go get some white chick or some white guy or some non-black guy, and you'll hire them without any sort of experience. But the black man, even if he has a college degree, you're telling him he can't work there. And meanwhile, while he's trying to go out here and find a job, he's winding up having to deal with a lot of stress because he's trying to get out there and go out there to try to make that living, but no one will take a risk on him. But they'll take a risk on what really upsets a lot of working class brothers is you'll take a risk on a convicted felon who's a white male or a non-black male, or you'll take a risk on one of these females, but you won't take a risk on a black man who has a work ethic, who is committed. And it doesn't matter what you do, like I have done, going out here, writing and publishing over 80 books, showing a work ethic. These people won't give you a chance. And again, this adds stress to a man, and this stress has an impact on a man's body because some men will go out here and start eating. Other men will go out here and start drinking alcohol. Some brothers will go out here and start taking illegal substances. And again, they're trying to cope with the stress of being in a world where you're just constantly where nobody wants you in it. And you're constantly coping with the target that's put on your back. And again, lots of pressure on that black man that cuts the years out of his life. But people will sit there and wonder, oh, why did men like Kevin Samuels or Michael Jackson, Coolio, many of these men wind up passing away at an early age? And the main reason why they're passing away at an early age is because of all of the stress that they have to deal with as related to their mental health. And they're passing away because that stress as related to their mental health is having an impact on their physical health. Because when you have to deal with stress ever since you're 11 or 12 years old, I mean, this anxiety takes years off your life because you're living with all of this stress and this pressure, and this stress and this pressure. It just gets to you over time, and it just really starts making it where you're sitting there having a rapid heart rate, where you're basically living on pins and needles practically every day, and you just have no place where you're feeling any sort of peace. I mean, most black men, they really can't go out here and relax because there's always somebody after you. And because you feel like there's somebody always after you, this is why you just can't go out here and relax like other people do, because you're constantly dealing with stress coming at you basically from every direction. Because when you're a straight black man, you get stress practically everywhere you go. I mean, you get stress at home from your black girlfriend or your black mother. You're getting stress from them because they're constantly nagging you, constantly arguing with you, constantly, in some cases, testing you and starting drama. And again, if you try to stand up for yourself, they want to go and run and go call 911, or they want to escalate their behavior to crazy behaviors, such as going out here and pulling out knives on you, or going out here and doing things like bleaching your clothes or breaking your stuff. I mean, this is a lot of pressure on a brother because he's sitting up here dealing with an unpredictable female who he doesn't know what she's going to do. And that's stress that he has to deal with at home, where other men, they can go out here and sit back and relax. They can sit back and get a breather. But a black man, when he comes home, he's got to deal with drama. And this is one of the reasons why 70% of black women are single, because a black man has to deal with so much stress because he just looks at this woman who God is supposed to have established as his helpmeet, and he's not seeing somebody who's looking to help him as a partner. All he's seeing is another enemy out here looking to be another adversary. And the worst thing about being home with an adversary is, again, you're on pins and needles, and then you're on pins and needles coming in, and then you're on pins and needles going out into the world. Because once you get outside into the world, then you've got these jealous Negroes at on the street, these Pookies and Ray Rays. And these Pookies and Ray Rays, they see if you've got a little bit of success or you're dressing a little bit nice, here are these dudes looking to go start some stuff with you and looking to start getting in your face. And again, no breather for that brother, as he's just doing something basic as going to the store or going to just go wait for a bus to go take him to work or take him out. He gets no reprieve at all. And that's the thing that, again, adds more stress to a black man's life. I mean, he's got to deal with Pookie and Ray Ray or one of these other dudes. And then he's on top of that, as he's going to the store, he's getting racially profiled by the corner store owner, who's either an Arab or a Hispanic, or he's being racially profiled at the supermarket by people. And again, he's on pins and needles because he's got to watch how he moves in the street. He's got to watch how he moves in the store. And again, that adds more anxiety to that black man, because any interaction that goes wrong would lead to him losing his life. And again, that has an impact on things like your heart. It has an impact on your other organs, because your heart has to pump harder when you're out here, and you have to go out here and you have to pump more blood, because again, when you're on the edge, you don't know what's going to happen, and you have to be on alert all the time. And that's the life of a black man in places like America. I mean, that's the stress that black men deal with that takes years off our lives is dealing with this kind of stress. And again, this is what we deal with just going out in the street. I haven't even talked about, again, I did talk about it before about going on the job, and going on the job. You also have enemies on the job. And that's the other thing that causes stress, because once you go out here and finally find a job that will give you a chance, what happens is you've got enemies on the job, whether it be these white men, these black women, these non-black women, or these beta black males. These are other people looking to take you out. And again, you're just trying to go out here and make a living and go out here and build, but you can't build any momentum because you've got enemies on the job who are trying to get you fired. And because these people are trying to get you fired, you got to be on edge because you don't know what the next day is going to bring. I mean, I have lived with this for many years and I know all about it. I mean, you can go, you're just looking to go, again, get your life started. You're looking to focus on trying to save up your money, looking to try to start making plans to get your own spot. But then you got other people at the job who, again, see a black man and start getting jealous. And then they want to start making plans to get you fired. And that really, again, puts stress on you because you're looking to start making plans to start moving ahead, but you can't make any moves because you don't know how long you're gonna be there. I mean, some of these white women, some of these white men, some of these non-black men and women, and some of these black women, they can sit there and say, hey, in 6 months, I can start saving up to put down the money for getting my own spot. But a black man, we don't even know if we're going to make it to the end of the week, because if one of these white guys gets mad because they didn't have any dark roast at the deli downstairs, he'll get angry and then use that as a reason to fire that black man. And then you got these ratchet females who will sit there and want to plot to get the black man out. They'll sit there and make all of these different schemes to get that black man out, and that brother can't get any momentum started. And again, that puts more stress on that black man because he's sitting there, he's filled with anxiety. I mean, that makes your heart rate go faster. That makes it where you're constantly on edge. And this is one of the reasons why so many black men are dying at 50 or 52, or like in Coolio's case, 59 years old, not even getting to the halfway point of their lives. And they're not getting to the halfway point of their lives because their mental health has an impact on their physical health, and that mental health as related to the stress that they're dealing with. It's again taking years off their lives because they're constantly feeling that anxiety that has them on the edge. And people, they sit there and wonder, oh, that guy died of a heart attack. Well, that guy died of a heart attack because he was having to deal sometimes with never having stable employment. Like in my case, that puts a lot of stress on you. Some of these guys have to deal with stress from baby mamas who, even though your check is getting garnished for child support, these females are constantly in your ear yelling and screaming, and not even because they don't have any sort of social skills. They don't know how to talk to you. And because white supremacy teaches them that a black man is less than a dog, a lot of these women, white and non-black and black, they go out here and they just talk to you just completely cruelly, and they don't ever think about how their words resonate with you. And I've seen this where when it's a white man, many of these black women, they'll sit there and they'll talk to that white man in a friendly fashion, but that black man, they will basically be dropping F-bombs and getting in his face. And these women will sit there and say that they're Christian women and they're good women, but they see a black man as less than. And when a black man is sitting there having to deal with a confrontational, argumentative female, whether it be his baby mama, whether it be his girlfriend, or even the clerk at a fast food restaurant, again, that puts stress on that brother. because it activates his fight or flight response, and this really has an impact on the black man as related to his health, because he's just again trying to go out here and get through a day, but he's got to deal with all of this stress as related to himself. And this stress again is something that he has to deal with, because I mean, when you're a father and you're just looking to go and just talk to your baby mama and she's screaming in your ear, I mean, how does that? A lot of people don't think about how that impacts a man, because they don't learn how to respect a man, and they don't understand that if you treated this man a little bit better, maybe this man would not be so stressed, and maybe you could probably get what you want. But a lot of women, they have poor communication skills due to 60 years of feminism, and they go out here and they're constantly attacking a black man, and again, not understanding you're taking years off that black man's life, because you're constantly attacking that black man. And that black man, he's dealing with stress from the job. He's dealing with stress by just walking down the street, because he doesn't know whether somebody's going to come after him, whether it be a cop or a Pookie or a Ray Ray. So a black man, he's dealing with all of this as related to things, and these are some of the things that lead to a lot of black men who look perfectly healthy on the outside, looking winding up passing away at a young age, because again, a lot of people, they don't understand what black men deal with in this world. They don't understand the struggles black men deal with, and that's why we're seeing so many black men, again, passing away at 50, 52, 54, 55, 59. I mean, black men winding up passing away and not getting to the old age like Bill Cosby is currently right now. A lot of brothers can't get to that age, because we got so much to deal with, and we're trying to get our lives together. Then it's hard to get your life together when you have so many enemies looking to plot to take you out. And again, that's what many people don't understand about why so many of these black men are passing away at such an early age, because we don't really take mental health very seriously here in the black community. Now, a lot of black men, that's another issue that many of us don't really deal with, is taking care of our mental health. And because the your black family over the years has always dismissed mental health, because of white supremacy always trying to say that black people have something wrong with them. But we really need to start focusing on things like mental health. So that's something that black men have to focus on as related to their overall health. We have to start focusing on our mental health, and then we have to start, after we focus on our mental health, start focusing on our physical health, because it's not right that we're seeing so many brothers winding up passing away at an early age, because many of these men, they could have had longer lives possibly if there was a focus on dealing with the issues that a lot of these brothers were having. If we dealt with a lot of the issues as related to the mental health that black men deal with, it could possibly prolong the lives of a lot of brothers. But we don't really focus on the mental health. We don't focus on things like psychotherapy. And because we don't focus on these kind of things, this is why a lot of brothers wind up suffering in silence. And because they're suffering from all of that stress, they're winding up having years shaved off their lives. And they're having years shaved off their lives because they're struggling with all of this stress, and they're not understanding that it's all right to talk about the problems that they're having and try to get help for working on them. It doesn't mean that you're a weak man because you're looking out for getting help. No, it means that you have the strength of character to understand that some things are beyond your ability to deal with on your own, and you need to go out here and seek out help from those who could help you deal with your mental health, and also after that, seek out help for those who can help you with your physical health. But both of them are intertwined, your mental health and your physical health. And we're seeing, again, too many Black men pass away in their 50s. And that really is unacceptable. And a lot of people, they don't want to connect the dots as related to it, because Coolio is a part of a larger pattern as related to health here in Black America. I mean, when we see Coolio passing away at 59 years old, again, this is a man who didn't even get to live half his life, and he didn't get a chance to live half his life because stress was, I believe, one of the things that killed him, because he was out here looking to go on tour, and he just goes to a friend's house and has a heart attack. And then when I look at his case of his passing, and I connect it to the late Kevin Samuels, I mean, here you had your Kevin Samuels, who was out here with a woman, and he passes away in his early 50s. And then you have other people passing away in their early and mid 50s. And we've got to start connecting the dots as related to your physical health and your mental health. I mean, we have to connect those dots, because all of these men dying at the exact same age, it just shows us that there is a real issue with health that leads to a lot of brothers being in a situation where they're here 1 minute and the next they're gone. And that should really give all of us brothers pause, because it gives me pause, because I'm 49 years old and I'm going to be 50 next year. And that really gives me a lot of pause, because, these brothers winding up passing away at that age, I think about it like I may not have much time here on this earth. And that's something everybody should really start to think about, Black men, because if we don't take a look at ourselves and take care of our health, nobody's going to take care of us. And that's where I take a point from Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy book, where he says, you have to put yourself first. And the reason why he says you have to put yourself first is because nobody's going to take care of you but you. And that's why you have to focus on doing what's best for you. And part of doing what's best for you is, one, going out here and getting a checkup from a doctor if you need to. And two, going out here and focusing on taking care of those ailments that you're having. And then two, going out here and doing things to relieve your stress. I mean, these are things that you have to do for yourself. And these are things that I have had to apply to my own life. I mean, just a couple of months ago, I was dealing with extreme stress from trying to run SJS Direct, and I was staying up till about 1:45 in the morning. Was waking up with red eyes and stuff like that, and I felt myself, getting really tired. And I had to say that I had to stop and pull back. And I had to pull back because all of the things I was trying to do to move myself ahead were actually setting me back as related to my health. And what I did to deal with my stress and to cut it down was to go to bed at an earlier hour. And I started setting boundaries for my own self. And then I started changing my diet, and I started eating a lot more fruit, and I started drinking a lot more water. And that really helped in the long run, because I started to lose some weight. I started to feel a lot better. I started to have more energy. And again, these are small things that I did to deal with my own health issues as related to stress. And I started pulling back on my workload because I was pushing myself too hard. And that's something a lot of Black men, we do, because we know that we don't have much time on this earth. So I had to pull back to deal with my own health issues. And this is something a lot of brothers have to go out here and do for themselves, because in addition to going to the doctor, we need to start focusing on our diet and our exercise and working on exercise. All of this has an impact on who we are. And a lot of brothers, we're not taught about taking care of our health, because a lot of times our parents don't know about taking care of health. And a lot of times we don't understand it at all because a lot of times, again, in black households, mental health is a taboo subject. And also physical health is a taboo subject. But we have to start focusing on these things if we hope to go out here and live a bit longer. I mean, this is what we have to focus on as related to our bodies and our mind and taking care of ourselves, because we have to, even though sometimes our minds are strong, we're not thinking about how it's impacting our bodies. And that was something that started to understand about my own health. And again, when I think about all of these men who have passed away, again, in their early 50s, I mean, this is a trend with these black men that we saw back in the 1960s and the 1950s, because they said in the 50s and the 60s, we saw a lot of white men passing away, even black men passing away in their early 50s. And again, stress was killing those men back then, like it's killing black men right now. And we have to, again, start talking about this stress, and we really need to deal with this stress because this stress is taking years off brothers' lives, and it's taking years off brothers' lives, and it's really impacting their bodies, and it's just doing damage to them on the inside, and they don't know that it's doing damage to them on the inside because heart attacks are a part. I think a lot of it has to do with stress, especially like in the case of Coolio, he was dealing with a woman who divorced him. He's got kids. He's got a heavy schedule. I mean, that's a lot of stress on a man. Same thing happened with Michael Jackson, just dealing with a lot of stress. And a lot of people they want to say that, oh, this has nothing to do with it, but it has a lot to do with the heart attack. Heart attacks are I believe, a lot of stress, because that was one of the things that I see with a lot of men. It's just a lot of stress just being out here. And again, when you're a black man, you just constantly are being bombarded with stress ever since you're 12 years old, from the white supremacist system, from Pookie and Ray Ray, from black women, from non-black people, and their racism. And again, this is why you have black men who are just having a hard, not living that long, because they have their years taken away by all of these pressures from people who are constantly threatening them, constantly attacking them. And again, it just wears you down over time, and it wears you out over time. And people really don't understand what black men deal with. And when I looked at Coolio's passing, I just saw it as one in a long line of deaths, as I see it, too soon. And it's deaths too soon because we put so much stress on the black man, and we don't, and a lot of people sadly don't care about the stress that they put on the black man because they don't see a black man as a human being. No, ever since white supremacy and slavery, we've always seen black people as less than human. And when it comes down to the black man, nobody sees a black man as a human being. So they feel it's okay to dump all of their anger on a black man. And they feel it's okay to even dump their anger on black boys. And all of this has an impact on that boy growing up. And it has an impact on his overall mental and physical health. So people really don't understand what black men like myself go out here and deal with on an everyday basis. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this stream, because I just didn't want to do a video making a tribute to Coolio and all of his accomplishments. And your Coolio did have a great career in the 59 years he was on this earth that God had blessed him with. But we have to deal with the bigger picture of this problem. And the bigger picture of this problem is why all these black men are dying. Because when we see all multiple black men passing away over the course of several years, and they're all in their early to mid and even late 50s, it should trouble everybody out here, because it's showing that the black male lifespan is getting shorter. and we're losing some of our best brothers out here, men who have gone out here and made great legacies like Michael Jackson, men like Coolio, men like Marky D, men like Shock G, men like um John Singleton, who one of my viewers, Jerobi, thank you for that, and Nate Dogg. We're losing a lot of good brothers out here who have great legacies, and it's sad to see all of these brothers losing their lives so early. And that's something we really need to start talking about, because the mainstream media just will go out here and make an announcement of this person's death, but we need to start helping this person see how their lives are important, and we need to see and value these people while they're alive. I mean, like Ringo says, you need to give these people their flowers, show them your appreciation and your gratitude, one, but you also have to help these people deal with the stress in their lives, and that stress is something that people could easily do. Like when black women, instead of going out here and giving that man grief, give that man some peace, because that's what that man wants. I mean, one of the reasons why you're having a hard time with relationships with black men is because you don't give that man some peace. You don't give that man a moment to breathe. I mean, he's got enough enemies out here, and then he has to come home to another enemy, or come to see and go out on a date with another enemy. So you need to give that black man some peace. And on these jobs, yeah, the work's going to get done. And that black man is not lazy. No, that black man is trying to assess things and critically think about things. And you're just projecting all of your anger on that black man based on stereotypes you see in the media. But that black man is out here trying to go out here and make the same living that you did. And you have to give that man some space, because you would give a white guy or a non-black guy that time to go out here and work. But a lot of these guys, they want to push, and especially some of these white women like to push. And again, you don't have to push a black man. And that's another thing that a lot of females try to do, is they try to nag and push a black man. And what happens is, because he's so stressed from the job and stressed on the streets, he winds up leaving the relationship and leaving his home, because he would rather be alone in a home with a hungry man dinner than be in a house with a woman who's causing him a lot of stress. And that's all due to the pressure that you see with people these days. And they're not really thinking about, oh, I'm putting a lot of pressure on this man. You want results real quick. But the whole thing is, this guy can only do but so much. And that's the other big problem that a lot of females out here, especially black females, don't understand, is that this brother can only do so much, and you're expecting him to do things like these media tells you these white men do. But these black men can't do this, because he's denied opportunities like other men. So you're sitting there trying to force things, trying to beg pressure on that man. That man doesn't need that pressure. No, what he needs is support. And a lot of brothers, they don't get that support. And because they don't get that support, all they get is more stress. And because they get all this stress, again, this is why we see a lot of brothers winding up passing away at 50, 52, 58, 59, like Coolio, not even making it to becoming a senior citizen. And they're not making it to becoming a senior citizen because they live in a world which basically wants them gone, and because the white supremacists want them gone, and their supporters want them gone, and their enablers want them gone, what happens is this black man's life winds up being cut short, and that black man doesn't get a chance to actualize his potential. So this is a big problem with a lot of black men out here that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Yeah, they'll talk about Coolio's passing, but we need to talk about what's causing these men to pass away, because we're losing, again, too many brothers, and we're losing too many brothers too soon. And we don't want to talk about the health issues. No, we don't want to talk about them, because your white supremacist doesn't want to be held accountable. Your black female doesn't want to be held accountable. Your corporate bosses don't want to be held accountable for putting taking years off these black men like myself's lives. They don't want to take accountability or responsibility for their actions in compounding the stress of black men. And they all they want to do is say, oh, we're going to do a tribute to Coolio, an empty symbolic gesture. No, don't do a tribute to Coolio. Help Coolio maintain his health. Help men out here like Michael Jackson maintain their health so that they can continue going on in their lives and make a great contribution to the world and help those men be able to function. And that's something many don't want to do because a lot of people are in their feelings about the black man. They're angry at the black man. They take out all their anger on the black man and they put pressure on the black man. And that's one of the things that really starts just eating away at a black man as young and a black boy as young as 11 or 12 years old. Because at 11 or 12 years old, that's when people start seeing the black boy as an enemy. And that's when you have a lot of teachers wanting to put the black boy in special ed. That's when you have people out here racially profiling the black boy when he's going to the store. That's when you have Pookies and Ray Rays looking to start fights with him. That's when he's getting disrespected. I mean, starts early, and as these black boys grow up to become black males, they never get to actualize themselves as black men. And again, that frustration and stress, it just builds and builds and builds until that black man can't really move himself any further as related to his body, because his body is starting to break down from all of the stress, and it breaks down from all of the stress that he's having because everybody is after him because they have believed all these stories that he's the black boogeyman. And that's one of the reasons why, sadly, we lose so many brothers out here before they can even get to the close point of 120 years. And we only see them living out barely half the time that God gives all men on earth. Now, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to take a minute to answer Tashura's question. He says, thoughts on the T'Challa movement since the leader. Thoughts on the recast T'Challa movement as a judge since the leader of the movement wants to stay on the sidelines and wait on the grace of Marvel and Disney. Well, I may do a video on that soon, Ashura. And I may also do one on that horrible John Ridley Black Panther run. I just got a lot of videos scheduled. So I may talk about that in a minute. So that's one I may talk about soon. So because the Black Panther movie is a major disaster. And I also want to do a video on the Blade disaster. I think the Blade disaster is a video I'm going to go out here and do for Sunday. So that video may be coming up. Wanted to do one on the Duchess of Ratchetness, but I'm going to do that one because the Blade movie is just a complete disaster from what I have read. So I may be talking about this recast T'Challa movement, but because Disney was really not genuine about making their film Black Panther, they were surprised by its success. They expected it to be a failure, but they didn't understand that the black fantasy market is burgeoning and growing still at this point. And I want to get back in the arena with another comic since the Kickstarter did okay. And what I want to do is do an ISIS or another John Haynes comic. And I can only do that comic if you guys donate to the Cash App. And if you guys, again, want to donate to the Cash App so I can continue doing streams, you can drop a donation to the Cash App, and that'd be greatly appreciated. So there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to do right now. And again, I understand the stress that a lot of black men are dealing with because I deal with that stress myself every day. I understand the anxiety a lot of black men are dealing with because I deal with that anxiety every day. And a lot of people, they're looking at, again, the passing of Coolio, and they're seeing it as, oh, Coolio is just the latest black man to die. But we have to look at the bigger picture. I mean, we've lost, again, Kevin Samuels, who was out here. He was trying to build up his YouTube platform. And I can tell you from trying to build my own channel, that's a lot of stress you're dealing with, just trying to put up different videos and different content and trying to get the views. And that's something I'm trying. That's something I know all about. So that's something I've lived with myself. So I know what a lot of black men are dealing with as related to stress, and it's cutting years off of them. So that's something I'm really focusing on as related to this stream, because I want people to start focusing on their health, taking those trips to the doctor, going out for walks, or going to the gym, focusing on their diets. I mean, brothers, we got to focus on this stuff, because this is how we take care of our health. And if we don't take care of our health, no one else will take care of it for us. Predator, I have no opinion on the white race being a minority. You'd have to talk to white men about that. That's out of my whole box. So that has nothing to do with me or the black community. Primal One, I have no interest in doing a review of ISOM number one. I can't support Eric July's platform because of that picture he took with Kyle Rittenhouse. So I will not be going out here putting any money on that book, because I just can't, in good conscience, support a guy who gives Kyle Rittenhouse a pass. So I can't go out here and buy that book. But any other black creator, I would give a chance to, as related to their work. But I'm not supporting that book. And plus, he does no digital offer, so I can't support that work at all. But any other creator, I have a lot of comic review videos I need to do. I mean, I have other books that I've just gotten in my email, and I've gotten some books come to me in the mail. So I've got a lot of other comic review videos are coming. And the reason why comic reviews weren't coming is because my tripod broke. So I had to buy a new tripod. I finally have a new tripod for my iPhone. So I'm able to do comic review videos again. So they will be coming out soon. And I'm wondering if there will be more views of comic review videos, because it's kind of slow. But I'm hoping to go out here and do more comic review videos soon. I don't have Hulu Tavanya on. Oh, I don't have Hulu, so I haven't seen the Mike Tyson series. So if you guys want me to see that series, you guys can donate to the Cash App, and that'll help me be able to pay for Hulu. But I don't have Hulu. I only have Disney Plus for about a month, and I only pay for those services on your donation. So if you guys drop donations to the Super Chat and the Cash App, then I can go watch this type of content. But otherwise, I usually pass on content because I'm busy working on my own content. And right now, I'm currently working on the Proof of the Woman Crisis. I'm editing the Woman Crisis right now. This book is going to be coming out in November, and you can pre-order your copy of the Woman Crisis right now. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat, and you can put in your pre-order for the digital version of the Woman Crisis. The paperback will be out around November, but the book will be talking about Predator is like this. I talk about white supremacy because of its psychological impact on the black mind. And your white supremacy can exist as a minority, because if we look at South Africa and apartheid, the whites were the minority there, and they participated in white supremacy as a small group on the larger population of blacks. So white supremacy is a global institution, and you don't need a lot of people to participate, to create a white supremacist platform. No, all you need is a handful of these people controlling institutions like government, wealth, and businesses, and that's how you can maintain an institution of white supremacy. And again, that institution is created to oppress blacks, because you need blacks at the bottom in order to maintain the power base, and you need blacks at the bottom so that the white supremacist can have his smooth world. So your whites don't need to be a large number in order to maintain an institution of white supremacy. In fact, it's a small group of elites who control the system. So you're asking a question, and I'm just going to answer it. It exists right now because there's a small group, and it's supported by a larger group of whites and non-blacks who benefit from the system of white supremacy. So, so that's the answer to that question. But that's one of the reasons why, again, black men are going through so much stress because you have a system of white supremacy and their supporters who want to keep black men at the bottom. And them keeping black men at the bottom puts the stress on black men because many black men, we go out here, we don't know what our last day on earth will be, and we don't know who will be the one to take us out. We don't know if we're going to be attacked by one of these rogue police officers, one of these rogue store owners, or one of these beta male pookies or ray rays, or even a black woman. So we already know that every day could possibly be our last because all of these people who want to get benefits from the system of white supremacy, they're looking to undermine a black man, they're looking to sabotage a black man, and they're looking to destroy the life of a black man over the most trivial of matters. So that's one of the reasons why, again, we see black men passing away at 50, 50, and even up to about 59, like Coolio, because of all the stuff we deal with practically every day in this country. And again, mental health has an impact on our physical health, and that is something we all have to really think about as related to black men. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. And if you want to see me do more streams like this, you can pre-order the Woman Crisis to help support the channel, or you can donate to the Cash App, or you can donate to the Patreon or PayPal, and that helps me be able to stay on the air. So I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening to the stream. I hope you'll be there for next week's stream, and have a good evening and have a good weekend.